Welcome to the Pro Football Hall of Fame for our first installment for the school year of our annual Before the Snap program. If you have tuned into this program before, whether it be a year one or year two, we're super excited to have you back for year three. But if this is your first time watching the program and you're new, you're in store for a very, very, very cool program. What is Before the Snap? Well, Before the Snap is a program that we here at the Hall of Fame host to showcase everybody and all the great people in and around the NFL, not just to showcase who they are, but more importantly, what they do. Our goal here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame is to showcase to high school, college students, and even young professionals all the great opportunities there are all over the country to work in and around the NFL. And we're super excited to kick off this school year with another great program with our special guest today. My name is Jake Ray. I'm the Youth and Education Manager here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio, where it's our mission to honor the heroes of the game, to preserve its history, to promote its values, and to celebrate excellence together. And those values we promote are those of commitment, integrity, courage, respect, and honesty. All of those values make our Hall of Fame football players and coaches and contributors the best in the game of football, but it also makes them great people off the field, great members of their community, father, sons, brother, husband, whatever it might be. And truly, these values can make you a great employee of any organization. Before we get started and we introduce our special guest, Ms. Caroline Palmer from the Tennessee Titans today, we have a few thank yous I'd like to pass out. First and foremost, Caroline, thank you for being our first guest, no pressure, of the school year, and truly for everything that you do for the game of football. You might not see it, but we truly see it here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So thank you for everything you do for the game of football on a day-to-day basis, and truly and indirectly everything you do for us here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Secondly, I'd like to thank our teachers, administrators, educators, professors, whoever is watching this program right now, whether it's live in person or whether you're watching this 6 months from now. I want to thank you for allowing us to just be a small part of the students' learning experience. And then lastly, we have to thank the students. As we say every year, Nathan and I, and you'll see Nathan here in a little bit, we have questions we want to ask, and we're eager to ask those, but we're not here to ask those questions. We want you, the students, to be able to interact, ask the questions you're looking for answers to, and truly be able to start your networking experience in your college career. So thank you, students, so much for tuning in. We can't wait to hear the questions that you guys have. And to parlay that into my last point, students, if you have a question, please put it in the live chat there on YouTube. We want to hear all the great questions that you have. So in the live chat, go ahead and state your name, the school you go to, and then go ahead and type out your question. Nathan's watching the live chat as we speak, and he's going to look for those questions to pop up throughout the program. So again, then your name, the school you go to, and then go ahead and put your question in the live chat. If you don't have a question, that's okay. Just let us know where you're watching from. We want to see how many colleges and students all over the country we can have interacting with the program today. Today, we are lucky and grateful to be joined by Caroline Palmer, who is the manager of youth and community engagement for the Tennessee Titans. She's entering her sixth season overall in the NFL and her first, which we saw just a few months here with the Tennessee Titans, responsible for planning and execution of community-facing events and programs that support NFL and club initiatives such as the Play 60 initiative, Salute to Service, NFL Flag, Coach of the Week, and so many great other programs. Prior to joining the Titans, Caroline spent 4 seasons with the Washington Commanders in their community relations department and their charitable foundation. Before joining Commanders, she interned with the Atlanta Falcons and the college football playoff, which we learned picked a pretty good year to watch the college football playoff. She was there when Alabama and Clemson played, Clemson winning on the last play of the game. She graduated from LSU with a degree in sports administration, and during her time there, she interned with the LSU athletic department, the L Club, and the National Basketball Association. So without further ado, we'd like to welcome our first guest of the year to the program, Caroline Palmer. Caroline, welcome to Before the Snap.
Thanks, Jake. Excited to be here. Thank y'all for having me today.
We are super excited to have you. Cannot wait to hear all the great tidbits and information you have to share. But first and foremost, kind of walk through a little bit of your responsibilities there with the Tennessee Titans. But can you kind of give us that 10,000-foot view on what a person with your job in community, youth and community relations does on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, so I think that's an exciting part about my job is there's not a typical day to day. It kind of changes throughout the year and throughout the season with whatever's going on. But as Jake said, my main responsibilities are kind of overseeing the community engagement strategies for the organization with my team, and so we really work on putting the brand out there for youth in the community, doing different service and volunteer opportunities, make sure that we're following league initiatives, and overseeing the youth and high school football development. And that starts young with, we have some Titans NFL flag leagues. We're also working to get girls flag football as a sanctioned varsity sport in the state of Tennessee. And working on all those different initiatives to develop the next generation, and the next Titans fans at a young age. I think you're on.
Rookie mistake. We have a special tie. We here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame work in our youth and education department. So we have very not similar, but jobs along the same lines. And there you have to have a special passion, I believe, for working with youth and working in the community. So why do you love that part of your job? Why do you love working with youth, working with that next generation, and truly making an impact, not only with that generation, but the entire Nashville community?
Yeah, I think that's also my why for the job, and why I love it is I just love the joy that it brings. And I love that the little moments that you can help to impact kids. If it's just bringing even T-Rack, our mascot, cheerleaders, a special guest, a player, an alumni to a school for an assembly for 60 minutes, that's going to impact those children, and kind of experience the experiences they have. And I think that making sure that everyone kind of has that equal opportunity, and really working with them is something that's my why. I've always loved kids, and if I didn't work in sports, I'd still be working with kids. So it's something that's just always been a passion of mine, that from a young age, and I'm very fortunate that I'm able to use that passion in sports.
Now, the world of the NFL is totally different no matter where you're at. But being able to work in a community relations department, you kind of see the same things within all 32 NFL clubs. So you have the unique perspective of seeing how a few teams have done that. What are some of the similarities between the jobs you've had throughout your career? And then truly, what are some of the differences?
Yeah, I'll start with the differences first, because that's probably easiest. But the differences is while there are the same needs in every community, they are vastly different. Being up in Washington, it was a different experience because you cover 3 states with your NFL territory. The practice facilities in Virginia, they're called Washington, and then your stadium is in Maryland. And so you have 3 different states that you have to meet the needs of, where all of them could be doing something different. Where here in Nashville, you have one city and one state. And though our territory does go into part of Southern Kentucky and Northern Alabama, it's a little bit more of a confined region, which trying to find those needs does make it a little bit easier. But your similarities are, like Jake said, very, very similar, and it helps that they're a league initiative. So, you're always pushing for voter registration. There are always social justice issues in your area. There are, hospital visits that you can be doing, school systems that, kind of those core groups are the same throughout each different team and market.
Looking at those different markets, obviously, like you said, every market's a little bit different, but there are those same initiatives. And we mentioned those NFL initiatives. Can you just give us a quick story, whether it's Play 60, Salute to Service, whatever that initiative, maybe which one's your favorite, or which one has kind of created one of your favorite moments out in the community, whether it was in Atlanta, Washington, or where you're at now with the Titans?
Yeah, one of my favorite initiatives is the social justice and the Inspire Change push that the NFL is working on. When I was at Washington, we got to help implement the EverFi 306 African American history and culture into boys and girls clubs. And so what that program is it's kind of a 5-course module teaching students about African American history and culture that they may not learn in the classroom. And so it was a really cool program that we got to kind of go from start to finish with these boys and girls club students with, and kind of learn how it was impacting them, things they might not have known before, different fields they didn't know that they could be in. And we had a lot of alumni participation with it, and kind of their experiences of if they had learned that at their age, or what they wish they had known. And just how the league is pushing it, I think is great.
All right, yeah, I agree. It's so cool to see all the different initiatives. You have your themed month, so we're approaching. Obviously, we have Hispanic Heritage Month right now. Salute to Service coming up in November, and it's always cool not only to see all the cool gear that comes out, because I'm sure that's a perk, but to see really truly the difference that are being made. And that's that special part about working in youth and community relations, is you really get a hands-on experience of how cool those moments are. With that being said, we're going to throw it out to Nathan Martin, the Youth and Education Coordinator here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, who's watching our YouTube stream, writing down all the questions. He said he's got one question right now, and I'm sure he's going to tell everybody to get those other questions submitted. So Nathan, whenever you're ready, take it away.
Yeah, Jake, thank you so much for sending out here. Caroline, thanks for being a part of the program with us today. And as Jake was telling you, students, I see everyone's putting in where they go to school. We appreciate that. We love to see that you guys are watching, but we want to hear more questions from you guys. And Caroline, we got one question right now from a student, and they're curious about internship opportunities. They are in Miami, Florida, and they're just curious, what's the best way to look for internship opportunities? Is there a place that you would suggest, a website? How did you go about it when you were looking for internships when you started your career out?
Yeah, no, that's a great question that people ask all the time. One, the obvious, Teamwork Online. A lot of teams do post their internships there. Another way that I learned that I got some of mine was directly through the team's career website. So if you go to whatever the team is.com and kind of go to their employment career section, a lot of them will list their internships only on that page and not necessarily on Teamwork Online. And then also, I know it's important and everyone says it, but networking, just talking to different people and having those calls and letting them know, hey, if you ever have an internship come up, I'd be really interested in this. Like, please keep me in mind. And they may, you won't get the internship on the spot, but they may be willing to forward you an email or an application when an internship does become open. So those are kind of the three key ways: or Teamwork Online, your networking, and then going directly to the team's websites.
Yeah, I think all three of those are great components or elements to looking for internships. Just in my own experience seeing that, and then obviously talking to so many different people before the snap. I mean, you talk about networking. This is a great opportunity for our students to network with you. Not only do they have the opportunity to ask you a question, or Jake or me, I don't know why they would do that, but it's a great opportunity to network, and then hopefully after the fact connect beyond through LinkedIn or whatever it may be. So students, please submit more questions. We want to hear from you guys, but I'm going to send it back to Jake for right now because I need more of your questions.
All right. Thanks, Nathan. Yeah, students, get those questions in. We want to see all the great questions that you have. And like Nathan said, it's a great way to start your networking path. And speaking on networking, mentioning a little bit there, Caroline, how important it is. Can you talk a little bit about why it's important? How do college students or high school students or even young professionals kind of jumpstart their networking journey, things they can do to make sure 5 years down the road, they either know the right person, they've met the right people, to make sure that their career is better set up down the road?
Yeah. I think one way to do it is getting out there and volunteering, and doing different opportunities that might arise at your within your college athletic program, or different special events that might be coming to town. By doing that, volunteering and getting your name out there with the volunteer coordinators, and working and doing a good job and working hard, the volunteer coordinators will remember you. And as you're applying to jobs or doing different things, you can list that as experience, and then being able to use that person then as a reference. You never know who they will know, especially if it's working major events. Through my internship at the College Football Playoff, I've probably known a lot of individuals just from that role, because there are a lot of companies who helped to put it together, whether it was an event production company and we had a mutual contact, or through broadcasting, or even through different vendors that might be there, that I think getting out there and talking to people, attending career fairs. You never know who's going to be at that career fair. They could send an executive, a vice president, someone in their marketing or communications department. It might not just be someone from human resources who is there. And so attending those and talking to people and really just, those conversations, even though they may be 3 to 5 minutes, are so important because it's their first impression of you. And that first impression is what's going to stick with them, and how they will remember you and be able to vouch for you or pass your name on. And so, kind of sometimes it's uncomfortable, but in order to be comfortable, you have to get uncomfortable. And so you really need to attend those different things. And even if it's sending out emails to people, or someone who is connected with someone and asking if they can do a networking call with you that way, getting on the phone with someone is usually also really good if you're able to do that too.
So you talk about all those and how important those career fairs, that's something you mentioned. So I want to talk a little bit about that. For me, when I was, freshman, sophomore, even up to my junior year in college, you would go to these career fairs. And my thought was, well, that person doesn't want to talk to me. Like, I don't want to bother that person. They don't want to talk to like little low Jake Ray, who's a freshman in college. How important is it to get over that fact and learn that, this is just part of the journey into getting an internship, a full-time job? How important is it to kind of get a little uncomfortable when it comes to finding a job or an internship?
Yeah, no, I think it's very, in full disclosure, I was not one to attend these career fairs as when I was in college. I attend them now. And so I think I've seen it from the other side, and I realized how important it was. When I was in my role with the Commanders, I attended a lot of career fairs to get interns or have part-time roles, our part-time staff positions filled. And those students who got out there and talked to us, brought their resumes, kind of talked about what interests them, what they were looking for. Some of them might not necessarily have been with the community department, but it was someone, they might have been interested in more of a marketing or sponsorship role. But teams are small, people in those departments. And so then you're able, if the sponsorship team was looking for a intern, we could then pass along their information by someone that we talked to. Getting that face-to-face is really valuable, because so many people can be great at an interview on Zoom, but then it's really talking in person and seeing how they interact and their passion for it, that you kind of get that face-to-face at career fairs and, figuring that out. And that's how someone will probably remember you.
Now, growing up, you mentioned, you always kind of had that idea to work with kids. Was working in sports for you always the end goal growing up?
I did not know you could work in sports, if that makes sense, because the sports administration major was not. So I graduated college in 2016. And when I started in 2012 was when universities were just starting to have the established sports administration program. So at LSU, it had probably only been around for 5 years, that it was not very large. But through a mentor, I found out that it was something I could do. And then through my freshman year, I found out you could do community in sports. And from there, I was sold, and I knew that that's what I wanted to focus on. And that's where I was going to make my career path towards. And so that's what I did.
So for people that may have been in your shoes once, kind of maybe have an idea what they want to do, don't know what's out there, what were your suggestions to be for that person, that individual that doesn't exactly know what they want to do yet, to kind of find that passion and find that one role that best suits them?
Yeah, I think it's to learn and absorb as much knowledge as you can. We, at LSU, it was great. We had a few in our sports admin course. There were a few introduction classes that every week it was a different individual coming in, similar to this, who worked in sports, whether someone in marketing or ticketing or stadium events, operations, IT, that you learned all about sports and what there was to it. And those were kind of the moments then you would connect with them after and to learn more if you wanted. And that's how I really found out about community relations. And so I think even though sometimes those classes are optional and they're not necessary, I think it's great to take, to just learn as much as you can learn, to then know what to do is kind of how you can then figure out that passion and experiences too. via volunteering for different major events, you could be put in different roles. And through those different roles, you could learn, hey, I love the stadium events side and game presentation and operations and kind of how the game runs itself. Or you may be like, that was a really great experience and I'm glad I learned it, but I learned that maybe marketing is more for me. And so kind of by doing those different hands-on experiences, you'll learn kind of where your niche is and what you want to do.
Looking at all those opportunities, you're obviously not going to walk right in and be in charge of everybody. You're going to have to do the grunt work that nobody really likes to do. So, how important is it to have that mindset going into entry-level jobs, summer internships, volunteer opportunities, knowing that, this work I'm about to do might not be the most fun, but at the end of the day, I'm building a network, getting experience. How important is it to kind of get over that, like, oh, I don't want to do this attitude when those opportunities arise?
I think it's extremely important. I think it makes an individual stand out, to know that, you kind of leave that ego at the door and you come in and you're doing this for a team effort. You're all working to accomplish the same goal, no matter what the task may be. And that grunt work will never end. Even as a manager, still 6 seasons in the NFL, I'm still lifting and moving boxes. I'm still mailing out letters. I'm still doing a lot of tasks that I was doing as an intern, but we just have a really good mindset. Here's a team that we leave our egos at the door. And so no one's above a task, and we all work to accomplish these tasks to make sure that we're, working towards the same goal. And so, yeah, I think that mentality and that attitude that you have working and volunteering at those events, it will make you stand out. And the volunteer coordinator, whoever you will be reporting to, will notice that by your positive attitude.
Awesome. Well, I think we got some more questions from our students who are watching. So I want to throw it back to Nathan Martin, who's got questions for us. I believe we got 3 or 4 that rolled in. So Nathan, whenever you're ready, go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, Jake, thanks for sending it back here. The students, they answered the call. They got some questions in, so we don't have to listen and hear from you anymore. We can finally get to what they have to ask. So our first one we have here, Caroline, is from Austin. He's a student at Nichols College. And you've mentioned volunteer opportunities with NFL teams. Obviously, there's the internship where, that might be paid or unpaid. That's more formal. But the volunteer opportunities, best place to find those, is that more so through networking that you're going to hear about those, or is there a specific place you think that they could find that maybe online?
Yeah, I think networking for sure is how you hear about them. And then sometimes they may also be posted on Teamwork Online. Like we have a part-time role here that we post on Teamwork, or a lot of the times if you somewhere you can find on a team website about volunteering with a team, if they have any community events like that. A lot of the times, like community events are closed volunteers for staff or for sponsors. However, working at the stadium and game days, that stuff is posted online.
Yeah, I think another thing I've noticed, and I don't know if you've seen this in your career, a lot of colleges will build relationships with different teams. So it might not be you directly knowing someone with the NFL franchise or the NBA team, but like go volunteer at your college or university, and then your professors might have those connections where all of a sudden you're volunteering on Sundays for the Titans games or that type of thing. I know teams sometimes utilize that outlet as well. So I think that would be good advice for Austin. Another question we have, this is from Lucy from Elizabethtown College. And Lucy wants to know, she's into marketing and advertising. What types of careers come to your mind when you think of careers in sports and in the NFL with that marketing and advertising background?
Yeah, we here at the Titans, we have a whole department called Business Intelligence, which really focuses on that marketing and advertising. There's some people's job who paid media is their whole entire job. And so making sure that, our different events get marketed, whether it's through billboards or with local magazines or websites, and kind of your Facebook ads, how that can all get put in. Those are what come to mind with me. Advertising's not really my strength, and I'm not entirely positive with that, but kind of saying those that, that business at every team, it's called something different here. It's business intelligence. But a lot of times those paid media or advertising marketing roles are there.
For sure. I mean, I think you kind of made the point clear that every team has to market, has to advertise. So they have whole departments dedicated to that. So maybe you're not working in the youth space, but there's definitely an opportunity to be in sports and utilize those skills that Lucy has. And give yourself some credit. You have to market and advertise some youth events sometimes, I'm sure, maybe in partnership with them, but you are doing a little bit of that.
Yeah, no, definitely. We work with them very closely on selling some of our events and getting it out there. But they are the experts on knowing the exact details and logistics behind it. They assist us.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I'm going to go one more here and then I'll send it back to Jake. This is from Nicole. You mentioned job fairs, career fairs. Nicole, very specific question. When students go to these career fairs, and I forgot to mention, she's from the State University of New York College at Onta. I don't know that city in New York, but I might have butchered that. But anyway, she's from New York. When they go to the career fairs, Nicole wants to know, should we bring our resumes to hand to you in person?
Yes, I would absolutely bring it. Having that is also a visual paper. So after you walk away, if the person who was speaking with you, who's from that organization, it gives them something to write on. So whether it's, that quick hit 2 to 3 words remembering about you, they can write it on that paper. And then when they come home with all their resumes from the career fair, they have those to remember the names. And then it also just shows you're prepared and you're interested. And that's also very important for a job, is the interest. You want to hire someone who wants to be there. And so they'll have that resume and they'll remember your name if you, then apply for their internship or if they want to reach out to you about one.
Yeah, I would echo that. I think that's great advice. We got a couple more right now, but we're going to send it back to Jake because I think he's got something special he's going to show you guys here.
Awesome. Yes, thanks, Nathan. And, we talked about at the beginning what we believe in here at the Hall of Fame, our mission statement: honor the heroes of the game, preserve its history, promote its values, and to celebrate excellence together. And at the core of where we are at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, we are a museum. We showcase the history, the timeline of professional football all the way back from when it started to some of the heroes you guys see on the field today. So we thought, what better way to tie in, the Titans. We're going to have a throwback to the Oilers a little bit here, but to tie in the football history with the Titans organization and the Pro Football Hall of Fame, then going live to our Hall of Fame gallery. We've got Jerry Shockey, the Director of Youth and Education, out there in front of a very cool artifact, one of the most iconic things that we have here on display at the Hall of Fame. So Jerry, whenever you're ready, go ahead and take it away.
Perfect. Thank you, Jake. Caroline, thank you again for being here, connecting with these students here today. I saw the questions coming in. We've got students from all across the country that are chiming in. So students, we're glad that you guys could tune in here today. What an awesome opportunity it is for you guys to get a little insight into careers in and around the NFL. But also, students, I challenge you, take advantage. You got LinkedIn profile probably coming up that you can get from Caroline. Reach out to her, network. I mean, these are opportunities for you guys to take the bull by the horns and so to speak, and get your name out there, get your network expanded out there. So I want to welcome you guys here to the Pro Football Hall of Fame Gallery, where you can see behind me, it's the bronze bust. We know what they are, but I want to give you guys an idea of just how big of an honor it is to be inducted in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Think about this just for a second. There have been about 300 million that have played the game since it started at all levels. At the collegiate level, there's been about 5 million. At the NFL level, there have been about 30,000 that have been paid to play, coach, officiate, or administrate the game. There are only 362 members of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So that gives you an idea of just how big of an honor. This is a very popular class this year. This is from 2018. Some of you, Ray Lewis, who according to Peyton Manning is an induction speech, is probably still giving his speech. Ray Lewis, we got Randy Moss, T.O. But I'm joined by, to be honest, we've worked with Robert numerous times. We love Robert, and he's one of our favorites. I'm joined by Robert Brazil. And so one of the things we get to do here at the Hall of Fame, probably 40, 50 times a year, work with 40, 50 different guys throughout the year through a wide variety of initiatives. And I know, Caroline, that's probably something you do as well within your department. So can you talk about working with even Hall of Famers that you guys have, but also obviously the Legends community? How do you guys work that out? What's your responsibilities, those kind of things?
Yeah, so I in my current role here with the Titans, I don't work with our alumni and legends quite as much, but when I was with the Commanders, I did for a bit oversee the alumni relations. And so yeah, it's a great experience and it's a great honor. Those guys, even though they may have graduated from the NFL, they have not graduated from the community and the fans who love them. And so bringing them to schools, to hospitals, kind of still putting them in the community is really special, and making sure they're still connected to the team is huge. And kind of know that even though they are no longer on the field, they are still just as valuable and as important to the organization and the franchise, and to the fan base of their community.
And for the students who are tuning in, I mean, I know that, my alma mater, University of Mount Union, pushes ticket sales very heavily to get into into sports period. But just know that there's so many cool career opportunities, alumni relations and community relations, and ways you can work with past players. So all kinds of opportunities to do that. So Caroline, thank you very much. And Jake, I'm going to send it right back to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Jerry, for that cool look into the Pro Football Hall of Fame gallery with all those bronze busts behind you. And I can echo the sentiment. We do love Dr. Doom, Robert Brazil, and doing all the great programming we've done with him. Kind of want to look at your career a little bit here, Caroline. And you've had the opportunity to, take advantage of all those opportunities that you've been provided, all those different internships and volunteer experiences. Everybody's always heard, you never stop learning after you graduate. There's always consistent learning that needs to be done. So what were some things, maybe one or two key pieces that you took from those internships, no matter which ones it was, which one it was, what was some of the things you walked away from those experiences with?
Yeah, I think kind of qualities wise, personality traits that you want to have and kind of grow into are, one is, I kind of mentioned it earlier, but just being a hard worker, no matter the level. That's kind of stood out to me in different roles, that knowing, like I said, still mailing stuff, or carrying boxes, the hard work does not go unnoticed. And the harder you work, the more fulfilling and rewarding sometimes the jobs or the different things you do are. That I would say I learned about hard work. I also learned about kind of your attitude and your mentality, which these all sound so basic, but kind of once you're in it, you really see it. If you are super excited and what you're putting in is what you're going to get out. And so it may seem kind of like a small task, like, why am I doing this research project? Why am I, trying to learn about this or see this? That's not helping me plan for this event. However, it's the more you're going to put into it, the more you're going to get out. So if you really take the time to dig in and do that research and create a cool presentation, you never know how much the person you're presenting it to is going to enjoy it and then be like, hey, that's great. Why don't you try to implement or execute this idea? So there is a reason behind everything you're doing. You just may not see it. And so kind of having that positive attitude with everything is something also. And then I would say those are probably the two biggest things, are hard work and attitude, which you probably hear all the time, but know that, those are really important qualities to have.
You mentioned in the beginning some of the things you work on a day-to-day basis. You mentioned trying to get girls flag football as a recognized sports with your high school association there in Tennessee. What work has gone into that? What do you see the future of that down the road? What does that look like?
Yeah, no, so probably a lot of the work got done before I started here, that I came in kind of at an easy time of when we were already starting to implement it in different districts, that it does take a few years for it to be implemented within a state, for the state high school athletic association to buy into it, to sanction it, because they can't just say okay, great, let's do it. Where are we going to do it? They kind of have to see the numbers, see how much it's going to cost, see what the participation is like. This past spring, when I started, we had just started implementing it in one of the counties here in Nashville. And at one of our teams, only, very few girls play at a time, and offense, defense, it's not that many people. One of the high schools had over 90 girls come to try out, and their team was 60 girls. Not all 60 girls get to play. Probably half of them never saw the field all season, but the interest in the sport is just huge. We had back in August, we had the first girl ever in the state of Tennessee sign to play girls flag football at the next level. And so I think that it's really just going to open doors. I think that a lot of girls have always had interest in football, and I think this is going to continue to grow their interest and help as a different way, a different sport and a different avenue for girls to get those scholarships to go to college. And the interest will definitely be there. And it's exciting to see how every NFL team is working towards this common goal, and slowly across the United States, have the whole entire state with varsity, or the whole entire country with girls flag football as a varsity sanctioned sport.
Yeah, it's very cool. Nathan and I got to interact with some local girls from here in Northeast Ohio who play flag. They were pretty much the halftime show of the Hall of Fame game. And I tell you what, there were some great plays that were made that kept the crowd in their seats there at halftime. So that was very cool to watch. And I think the unique part of this is, it gives, like you said, you mentioned an avenue for girls to continue playing a sport that they love to watch or, have grown up around. But I think that, down the road leads to, maybe wanting to work in sports or knowing that there's so many other opportunities out there. So as we look forward, and you can talk a little bit about your journey, what is it like to grow and, take on all this responsibility and truly change the lives of others, being a female who works in a sports field?
Yeah, no, I think it's a huge honor. I think I'm very blessed and lucky to be in this role, and to continue to push out our brand in the community and continue to work with different individuals. I've been very fortunate that I've been surrounded by amazing male colleagues who continue to uplift and support, and just want the best and want to see me grow, and will give me these responsibilities so that I'm able to progress and able to get promotions and able to get different job titles. And so I've been very fortunate with my career, and I think it's exciting. And because people have poured into me, it's, you then pour into the next generation. It's a continual flow. It doesn't stop with one. And so I'm really excited about, the future of women in sports and women continuing to work in sports. And it's exciting to see a lot of women in our front office.
Very, very cool. I know Nathan's got a few more questions left, and we want to throw it to him to get those as part of the program. So Nathan, go ahead whenever you're ready with some of our final questions.
Yeah, thanks, Jake. And we actually have a student question that goes right in line with what you just asked. And this is from Ray, who attends Tri-C. And they were curious, is it common for you to see females working, and they said specifically in athletic training, but let's just start there, but talk about just in the NFL in general, in the front office, in your day-to-day, how often and how common is it to see women working in this professional sports world?
Yeah, no, I think as times are changing, you're going to see women in every field, and in every niche. I know there are females in athletic training at the college level, and at professional. I don't have, the statistics or numbers for that, but I've definitely seen it. But then to your point, Nathan, there are, tons of females in the front office. So I sit within our marketing and communications department. Our department's probably about 11 people, and 8 of them are females. And so I'm in a pretty female heavy department. When I was at the Commanders, it was also very female heavy. That it's exciting to see that what you once thought was mainly a guy's sport and mainly guys working in the front office is now being diversified. And there's a lot of females who are working in these same roles as their male colleagues.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. And I mean, I love that you're able to relate your personal experience, how it's 8 out of 11 where you're at right now, because I think that can really encourage our female students that are watching for sure. Next question comes from Brad, who attends Utah Valley University. And he wants to know specifically what types of majors are people looking for when they're hiring in the sport industry. I'm going to guess this is going to be a wide, net of an answer here. But what type of majors come to your mind, Caroline?
Yeah, it's funny you asked that, because I don't think I've ever, when I've looked at resumes for interns, looked to see what their major is. A lot of the times I look at experience, because you could be majoring in accounting, but you're wanting to do something completely different. And it's just because that's, kind of the degree that you're going for. I think of course, sports administration is one of the most commons, sports management. And so you will see that on a lot of papers, but it kind of depends. Like you said, it could be a wide variety, depends on the role you're going for what makes sense, and kind of where sometimes your classes, you have to get practicum or kind of volunteer hours. And so you may, like if you're wanting to do athletic training, kinesiology might be your major, kind of falling in line there. And so I think it really goes for what you're trying to do.
Yeah, for sure. I always think it's cool. We do a program here at the Hall of Fame with students where we talk about, all kinds of different careers in the NFL. And then we do this one where we're talking more in detail with your specific career. And in that one where we're talking about all the different opportunities, we have a video, and it's a individual that works for the 49ers in game day entertainment. What goes up on the video board, how's the halftime show, and their major is in like English literature. And she talks a little bit about her experience and like how she took that major. And she's like, well, I'm kind of telling a story in the game. And, I'm trying to create these memories for the people that come to the game. And I was like, yeah, that major has nothing to do with what she does on a day-to-day basis, but it's cool to see that she's made the connection. And that just goes to show our students that, like you said, just because you're majoring in accounting doesn't mean that someday you couldn't work in youth programming with a team. It's really about the experience. And that's actually a great segue to this last question we have from Raven, who also attends Tri-C. Is it possible for a student, for someone to get into the athletic industry and work in sports without any experience working in sports previously?
I definitely think it's possible. There's someone on our team right now who she was, or I guess I was at my previous job, there was someone who kind of oversaw public relations, and they had never done public relations with a sports team before. They'd done it for different companies and organizations. And after, 8 years, decided to come into the sports world. I think you can absolutely get into it. A sports team is a business, it has all the factors of a business. And so I think through different experiences and jobs you do, even if it's not necessarily sports specific, you could still get into the field.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I said it was going to be the last question, but out of the corner of my eye, we get another question from a student. Austin wants to know, what type of experience, Caroline, would you recommend putting on, or how to make that resume stand out? What experience do I need to have on the resume so that when you get a stack of, let's say, 200 or 300 resumes and you're trying to hire maybe 2 interns, how's my resume going to stand out from all the other applicants?
Yeah, I think he is making it 1 page. I know that's not answering your question, but 1 page. If it's more than 1 page, a hiring manager is not going to read it. But I think it kind of depends on the format. I know a lot of different colleges have recommended formats for how the resume should be laid out. But so talking with your guidance counselor, career, I don't know what they're called at each school, but the career counselor that could help you with it. I think it's just making sure that it's all on there. You don't want to forget anything. That even though I've had a lot of different internship experiences, the college football playoff one that I did was 7 years ago, but I still make sure that it's listed in some capacity on my resume, because through that, someone may know someone who could then, who would, through those connections and that networking, that it could help you. But I think that if you've volunteered at a lot of events, maybe having a volunteer section and saying, I did XYZ event in this capacity for this event. I, worked game days for this season at my college doing, men's basketball or women's basketball or gymnastics, whatever it may be. I think everything you do, you need to make sure that if it's of relevance, to make sure to list it and figure out a way. And like I said, your counselors can help you with that in the best format to do it.
And I think, Jake, and you've kind of already talked about it, it's important to have that experience. That's what hiring managers are looking for, is the experience. And students might be sitting there like, how do I get experience if no one will hire me? Well, you talked about volunteering, and I guarantee you every college athletics department, if you come in and you're willing and you're going to show up on time and you're willing to volunteer, they will find some work that they can give you. Your local high schools, it doesn't have to be that glamorous job or internship to start off. Like sometimes you just got to grit your teeth and be like, I'm going to go volunteer. I'm going to go get some experience so that when I interview with the Tennessee Titans, they're like, oh, wow, look at this person. They've got all this experience now because you were volunteering. And I think that's just a good reminder, for myself, but also for our students that I think are watching as they try to build out their resumes. But that is all we have from our students. If we didn't get to your question, I encourage our students, we've already put in the comments section how you can connect with Caroline on LinkedIn. We encourage you guys to do that. Connect with her, follow up with questions that maybe we didn't get to or new questions that you have. I'm sure she would be happy to talk to you guys more on a more one-on-one setting maybe, but that's on you now. That's up to you guys to make that connection and take it a step further. But I want to thank you, Caroline, for being a part of the program. I know Jake has a lot of fun stuff that we'll wrap the program up with. But on behalf of myself and these students, thank you for being a part of Before the Snap today.
No, thank you. I'm excited to be here and excited to join you also. Appreciate it and appreciate all the questions you had.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. Thank you. So Jake, back to you.
Yeah, thanks, Nathan. Yes, and to all the students, thank you so much for getting those questions in. Like Nathan said, if you didn't get those questions in and we didn't get a chance to ask them, connect with Caroline. And to be honest, we got 18 more of these programs throughout the school year. So you'll have the opportunity to connect in and learn from all of our other guests as well. As Nathan mentioned, kind of towards the end here to wrap up, got a few more questions, one little fun segment we like to do here at the end, and then we'll be wrapped up. But before we get to that, we talked about at the beginning, Caroline, what you do on a day-to-day basis, but kind of the fun part of working in sports is that game day. So what does game day look like for you?
Yeah, I really, every game day is pretty different. Of course, kind of depending upon what the initiative is and what's going on. For preseason, it's play football month. And so we are kind of in charge of doing the halftime entertainment. And so we've done a few different, punt, pass, kicks, or we've brought out flag teams. Or it could be hosting different nonprofit or community groups and giving them an experience, depending upon the game theme. If it's, with our 9/11 game the first week, a few weeks ago with game one, we hosted a tailgate for first responders. We had 300 first responders in attendance, and we were playing the Giants. And so we had a few first responders come down from New York as well that we threw a tailgate for them pregame. It really just depends upon the game and what's going on. My game day duties are not the same for every game, which is exciting. And what I really like, because it switches up my game day. Some days I get to only work until the first quarter, and then I get to watch the game as a fan. And that's really fun. So yeah, a lot of it is just figuring out what the game theme is and kind of what floats within our wheelhouse and our bucket.
And being part of that game day, you get to take in a lot of pretty cool experiences. So I'm going to kind of put you on the spot here. Looking back on your career, volunteer, internships, your time in professional sports, was there an on the field memory or game memory or something that stands out to you? So when you look back on your career, you're telling your grandkids stories about what you got to do. What was that one moment that you can sit back and go, wow, I cannot believe I was a part of this? What would that moment be?
Oh, that's a tough question. Wow. Man, that's a really tough question. Probably one of them working is, I got to be a part of some pretty cool experiences when I was at the Commanders, and I got to work our alumni homecoming every year. And so, being a part of that moment on field when 150 alumni are being brought back and kind of getting to be I got to be a part of a few Ring of Fame celebrations. And so, inducting London Fletcher and Chris Samuels into the Ring of Fame at Washington was pretty cool. And then my first season, one of the former head coaches also got inducted into the Hall of Fame. I wasn't directly related with it, but I got to be a part of it and kind of be there for the experience. And so that was really cool. And I mean, all of them, it's something to never take for granted. If you get to be on the field for a pregame, you're like, wow, not many people get to do this. And you kind of soak it in and you look around and you're like, I can't believe all these thousands of fans are here and you're kind of on the field, that it's really exciting and it's cool to be a part of.
All right. So before we wrap up, we do have a new segment this year that we're excited to debut here today. So again, Caroline, no pressure. We've got some rapid fire questions. So you either have first thing that comes to mind, you got an either or option. So we got 6 questions for you. So you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. Number 1, LinkedIn, great way to network or just another social media app?
Both.
Number 2, GPA on a resume, leave it or take it off?
Leave it until you've had your first full-time job after college.
All right. Number 3, social media accounts, your personal ones, public or private?
Private.
Number 4, jeans at work, all day, every day, never or only on casual Fridays?
All day, every day.
Number 5, coin toss, heads or tails?
Tails.
All right. Number 6, you score a touchdown, your go-to touchdown celebration.
Well, I went to LSU, so I would say the Griddy.
All right. I thought that was great. Great way to kick off our rapid fire questions. And then to bring things back on a more little serious note. Last question that we ask all of our guests throughout this program. And truly, we ask the same question to our Hall of Famers when we do programs with them. Talked a lot of great things today about networking and getting a job and, understanding what your role needs to be and all those different experiences. But there's one thing college students, even Nathan and I could walk away from this program with today. What would that one big piece of advice be from you?
Yeah, I think this is something that one of my former bosses has told me that really sticks with me with kind of your mentality and your attitude with every job is control what you can control. There's going to be a lot of different outside factors that you may not, be able, it's unforeseen and you really can't control them. So if you just go to work every day with a positive attitude and kind of focus on your job and what you can control and how you can change what you can do, just focusing kind of on that will make everything a lot easier when you're kind of just controlling what you can control.
Awesome. Well, with that, we're going to wrap up this installment of the Pro Football Hall of Fames Before the Snap series today, featuring Caroline Palmer, the Youth and Community Engagement Manager with the Tennessee Titans. So Caroline, again, thank you so much for being a part of this Before the Snap series. And we greatly appreciate you connecting in, speaking with us and indirectly all of the college students we have tuned in as well.
Yeah, no, thank you. This was great. And I appreciate y'all having me out and good luck with the rest of them this season.
Thank you so much. And before we leave you all today, just make sure to tune into everything Pro Football Hall of Fame. I'm going to throw the Tennessee Titans in as well. Follow, subscribe, like, whatever it might be, any of the social media platforms out there. And I got to give a plug to our podcast here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, The Mission, hosted by our great friend and coworker, Jameer Howerton. We're releasing these weekly with Hall of Famers, talking the game, talking football, talking their careers, talking the next week to come in the NFL. Some awesome stuff to hear about the league from some of the greatest players to ever play the game. So tune in, listen to that. It's really great, really awesome content that we're having here. So stay tuned to all these platforms. We get shout out to Titans, anything that they're doing, tune into all the great stuff that's going on in Nashville, both on the field and off the field. But we cannot wait to have you back here next week on October 7th. We will be speaking with Daniel Levy, who is a member of the Philadelphia Eagles organization, and Caroline smiling. The CR world, it's a tight group. So a lot of people know a lot of people throughout the CR world in the NFL. So we're looking forward to speaking with Daniel as part of the program as well. As I said at the beginning, this program is called Before the Snap because we know that there's all this work that goes into that before the ball is snapped on Sundays, Mondays, Thursdays, whenever it might be. So Caroline, just thank you so much for everything that you do for the game of football, all you do with you and your team there in the Nashville community. The game of football wouldn't be like it is today without the influence that you and your team have. So from myself, from Nathan, Jerry, all of our team here at the Pro Football Hall of Fame and all of our students watching, Caroline, thank you again for being a part of the program. And from all of us to all of our students, thank you for tuning in today. We hope to see you next week here on the Pro Football Hall of Fame's YouTube page for our next Before the Snap program. So thank you, everybody. We'll see